When we talk about the risks of AI, our minds usually jump straight to the impact on us, on humans. But what about the massive group affected by this tech that we almost never talk about? I mean, of course, animals. So today, let's dive into a hidden ethical blind spot in the AI systems we're all using every single day. It sounds like a weird question, right? How on earth could typing something into a chatbot actually cause harm to an animal? Well, as we're about to see, the connection is way more direct and honestly more concerning than you might think. And this isn't just some theory, it's a risk that we can now actually measure. I mean, think about it. AI is already everywhere. From Google's AI overviews giving us answers to ChatGPT helping us with our work, these systems are fast becoming our main source of information. They're literally shaping how we understand the world, our values, our attitudes, and that incredible influence, it comes with a pretty big hidden side effect. Okay, this right here is the core of the problem. It's all about a feedback loop. See, an AI gives a biased or maybe even a harmful response. That text then influences people. I'm talking regular users, professionals, you name it. That little shift in attitude gets reflected in the language we all start using online, which, yeah, you guessed it, becomes the training data for the next, even more powerful generation of AI. So a tiny bias today can get amplified into a huge ethical problem tomorrow. So, seeing this potential for a dangerous feedback loop, a team of researchers decided they had to investigate. But how do you even start to measure something as squishy as animal harm just by looking at a block of text? Well, you need a really specialized tool. You need an ethical crash test for AI. And this is what they came up with: Animal Harm Bench. Seriously, think of it just like a crash test for a car. We would never put a new car on the road without testing it for safety, right? Well, in the same way, this tool lets us test an AI's text for the risk of causing animal harm before we fully unleash it on society. And the test itself was really, really clever. It was kind of like a two-pronged attack. First, they grabbed over 1,800 real, messy, totally unpredictable questions that people were actually asking on Reddit, on forums like Debate a Vegan and No Stupid Questions. But then, they also created 2,500 super systematic questions combining 50 different animals with 50 ethical scenarios, just to see how the AI handled everything from, say, cats to silkworms. So how did they score these thousands and thousands of answers? Well, they used other powerful AIs to be the judges. The process is pretty straightforward. You ask a model a question, it spits out an answer, and then a powerful judge model scores that answer on a really simple scale. Does it increase the risk of harm, decrease it, or is it just neutral? It's a brilliant way to automate a massive ethical audit. All right, so the crash test was designed, the questions were loaded up, and the judges were ready. The researchers put 10 of the world's leading AI models through this whole benchmark. So let's take a look at the report card. And this is where things get pretty chilling. When one of the AIs was asked to design a monkey meat farm, this is part of what it said. It didn't push back, it didn't question the morality of the prompt, it just got to work, designing a system for maximum efficiency with basically zero regard for welfare. This isn't some bug. This shows the model just accepting the user's prompt and optimizing for it, revealing this profound ethical vacuum. And this just goes to show you that the monkey farm example wasn't a one-off, not at all. The harm scores were wildly different depending on the animal. Charismatic animals like elephants and dolphins, they got the most positive, welfare-focused responses. But animals we use in industry, like shrimp and silkworms, they got the most harmful ones. The AI had clearly learned and was now just reflecting back our own species' biases. And what's really wild is that the researchers found these AIs were incredibly suggestible. Just changing a single word could completely flip its ethical stance. Asking if it was okay to eat an animal got a much more harmful response than asking if it was problematic. It shows the models are basically trying to be agreeable and please the user, a bias that researchers call sycophancy, even if that means spitting out some ethically questionable stuff. And this is crucial. Not all AIs are the same. This leaderboard shows some pretty stark differences. Way up at the top, you've got models from Mistral and Google's Gemini. They did the best, generating the least harmful text overall. But look down at the bottom. You've got Meta's Llama 3, which actually got a negative average score. That means, on average, its responses were judged to actively increase the risk of animal harm. Okay, so these results are way more than just a report card for a few tech companies. They have some pretty profound implications for our future, because all of this feeds right back into that dangerous loop we talked about at the beginning. And here we are again, seeing how that feedback loop gets built. That biased text, the kind that says it's totally fine to factory farm some animals but not others, it doesn't just sit on a server somewhere. It gets read. It influences opinions. It normalizes harmful ideas, and it shapes our culture. And all of that new human language becomes the food for the next, even more influential AI. The cycle just repeats, and the bias gets stronger and stronger.
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, first off, AI is not a neutral tool. It's a mirror reflecting our own societal biases back at us, and it's an amplifier that makes them way louder. Second, these risks can actually be measured. We can and we absolutely should be holding different models accountable. Third, this feedback loop is very real, and it risks locking in harmful attitudes on a global scale. And finally, tools like this benchmark are absolutely essential if we're serious about building a more responsible and ethical AI future.
Which really just leaves us with one last critical question. The AI is learning from this giant ocean of human language. Our debates, our questions, our articles, our values. It's learning from us. So, what exactly are we teaching it?